I put some bullet points into the promo on Patreon, and I said how to live from the higher you, being your higher self now, creating and living in higher alignments. You are your higher self. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about being mindful of if there's a cycle of healing or if there is living from being healed. And I think everyone understands what I'm saying. And in order to live from your higher self, that's the understanding that has to be anchored, that it isn't another cycle of seeking, wanting, lacking, needing, but it is an anchored wholeness that you live from. When you or I or anyone sees themselves as separate from the higher self, below the higher self, not vibrationally high enough to connect with, hear, or be the higher self, it is like as if you are in a like a theater where there's a stage up at the front. My daughter did community theater for years. We had such a lovely time. So there's a stage up at the front, and then there's all the seating, and then the doors in the back, right? So you come in the back doors, you find your seat, up ahead is the stage. So if you're me or anyone are living from feeling separate from their higher self, not enough alignment vibrationally, not strong enough to do this, not in a space in which that feels comfortable or whatever, it is as if you're standing in the very back corner of that theater and you're trying to direct a play, and all the actors are on the stage and you don't have a megaphone or a microphone, and you're in the very back corner of the theater and you're trying to direct the actors and the play. You wrote the play, you know it very well, and you're trying to direct it all from the back corner. But when you lean into visualizing and understanding and believing in yourself as your higher self in your now version, you step out of the back corner into the aisle. Now you have a clear shot to the stage. Vocally, your voice will travel better to the actors in your play that are performing your masterpiece you created. And as you lean into that belief of yourself, and as you lean into trusting yourself, and as you lean into listening to you from the understanding of you are the higher self, you are, it's right there, it's right here, it's right here, it's right here. And as you lean in, you're walking down that aisle and you're getting a little closer to that stage where it is all unfolding. And as you keep leaning in, you hear you better. The actors hear you better. Your directions are received more clearly. The play is implemented according to your lead more precisely. And you move closer and closer as you continue to lean in. The way in which the play unfolds, the way in which the story goes, is in alignment more and more with the director's direction. The closer the director gets to its own self, its own stage, its own play, its own actors. But the understanding of that continual expansion of you moving closer to that space of you that is unfolding, your life in this now, is how you amplify and continue to expand that space of you. A really big reason why this is all coming forward in this now and in this class is in 2020, I began the Being the New Human classes. I had nothing pre-written. I'd never even used the term new human before in my whole life, but I just knew I was supposed to show up here and those who were ready would find me. And I was supposed to talk about topics that would guide us all to the spaces of our truth. And why this is happening is because, and many of you know this, we are in a space of where all the energy of our individual beings and our collectives as human is shifting energetically, and everything is energy. So as we shift, all the ways we've ever thought about things and done things and looked at ourselves and looked at others, all these spaces shift, they change. If they don't, the energy doesn't change. But it's in movement, whether we're kind of on board or not. And those who aren't on board, it's like getting dragged kind of in a way. And you have a lot of different, and you may know people, you may experience it in your family, your friends, yourselves, I don't know, where there's a lot of emotional upheaval and there's a lot of, there's a big clearing. There's a lot going on in their lives trying to have that conversation with themselves, to get their attention, to lead them in a way of truth and empowerment. And now here we are 2 years later from starting this space. Really, I think I started it in August. This is a different ball game. You're not, those who are in this space, you're not trying to figure out who you are in a sense and shift your energy. That's already happened. You've been doing that. It's shifted. You've shifted. Now you're implementing the understanding of yourself as higher consciousness and living from it. That's why I say there's no more lessons unless you want to go back and sit in that classroom. Your being, your energy, your understanding is in a new space of itself in which you are now ready to be it. And in the moments in where there may seem to be a conversation or a lesson or something coming in, you're not processing it the way you did before. And you know this. I've spoken to many of you where your process time is much faster. What 2 years ago took you 5 days to get through and release the the emotions that needed to be released, and love the spaces that needed to be loved, and learn the lessons that needed to be learned from the experience, the conversation, the understanding that was coming up. What used to take 4 to 5 days 2 years ago, a year ago, dropped down to 2 days. And now this year, you guys are telling me you're doing it in hours. You're having something come into the understanding, and within an hour or so, and some of you it's minutes. Some of you it's minutes, but that's the progression of your energy. That's the incremental shift of your being. And where you are headed, what is happening to you, what is going on with the human, is the body, the physical body of the human is adapting to the energy shift within the consciousness. And the energy shift within the consciousness is because it is the higher self now inhabiting the human body, because the now you took the journey you took and expanded your self-mastery and your understanding of who you are and opened yourself up to that space of you. That's why you're done with all this other space, because you did it well and you figured out where your you are here is now. And now I am just here to gently remind you to live from that now new you are here moment and space of you. You are very powerful. You have the ability to see with your inner knowing. You have the ability to see spaces in the physical world with your inner knowing in the now, meaning you can close your physical eyes and you can go anywhere you want with your inner knowing. And all of this is happening and opening up. And this class really isn't about that, but maybe it will turn into that. I don't know. But humans have gifts. They have abilities that are not supernatural. They're just natural, but no one's ever given them focus and fed them. So they've never been on, the forefront prior. But this is what's happening to you now, and or is going to. And it's all glorious. You already are doing a lot of this, but it's going to expand. So communications with your mind, those closest to you that are in this same wavelength as you, you've already experienced this with. You finish each other's sentences, you message each other the answer to the question before the message of the question even comes. I do this with my daughter a lot. I'll send her a text and I'll say, blah, blah, blah. And she'll say, I was just going to ask you that. And we can travel. We can travel in our light bodies, yes, and when you are lay down for meditation or sit down, or you do it doesn't even have to really be meditation. We've used that word for so long, but it can just be the intent to travel in your light body. You have the ability to do that. You have the ability to heal your body, yourself. You have the ability to heal others. These are all connected with your higher self inhabiting your now form. These are all connected with you living from that space of you. Now, here's the thing is some may say, well, how? Tell me how so I can do it. And, we can go down that path together as well. But the biggest thing I could share, first and foremost, is know thyself. Believe in who you are in this now moment as this space of you. Rewatch this video. Contemplate what I'm laid before you about being your higher self. What does that look like to you? What does it look like? Are you still looking at you and your higher self from a vantage point of separation or, a past space of you? Or are you looking at you and the now version of you and acknowledging, seeing the higher self within you? Are the eyes that look at you in the mirror and reflect, you see your own reflection, are they the eyes of your now version through your higher self? It's cool. It's wonderful to even contemplate and then try it. Go look in the mirror and ask yourself, who's looking at you? An old version of you, a now version of you, a now version of you with the higher self inside? Or is the mentality and the mindset and the understanding still seeing the higher self outside and above or away and somehow? Does everyone function in this space? No. Will they? Yes, most likely. All are ever expanding. Why would you want to understand this? What use does this do for you? It's happening to you no matter what. You're evolving, you're expanding, you're ascending, you're shifting, you're changing. And if you know that, if you have that understanding and you lean in with trust and allowance and love and joy and gratitude, and you know that every step of the way you're surrounded by beings of light that have already done what you're doing. Yes, that's how it works. All of you and me, we all have beautiful teams of light with us on our whole journey. And as you lean into this understanding of them being with you, again, it expands. And as you lean into this understanding of them being with you, you can connect more, hear more, understand more, because you're feeding energy to the connection of that alignment by thinking about it. Imagine it. I do it all the time. Don't do it if you don't want a life like me. If you do not want a life like me, and you see my life on social media, and I share a lot in my classes, and if you don't want beings of light around you, and you don't want love and happiness and bliss, there are some things that are very interesting, yes, but I love them. They're magnificent to me. And if that is a draw to you, because I think it is, I think that's why you're here in this space. Your heart feels an alignment with my energy. Your heart feels an alignment with what I'm speaking, because it is a space that is also in you, as you. We most likely all stood together in another space prior to this one, different intervals, and said, I'll see you there. I'll see you there. My heart knows that, yes? And there's a purpose, because as you raise your understanding of you as your higher self and your now version, and you live a life of bliss and beauty and gratitude and love and peace, you are becoming that form more and more and more by leaning into it, by being it, by implementing it. That's how you be anything. You have to be it. People say, how do I be that? How do I activate that? You have to do it. You have to be active in that space of you in order for that space to be. But as you do that in your individual spaces, and me in my individual space, we amplify the teams of light that are with us, because we are creating a bridge in which they can be more present, because we're more present with them, because we're more present with our spaces of ourselves and our knowing of that alignment. It's all energy, it's all vibration. And as we do it in the individual, we are holding that alignment line within our collective of humanity. All right, holy ones, thank you again. Thank you, Jill. Thank you for that. And I love you all unendingly. Blessings upon you, holy ones. Blessings.